Hey, what is going on, you guys? Welcome to One of Each, the Dumb and Hungry podcast, where we talk about our food adventures and our favorite food groups. I'm Angelo, the Dumb and Hungry.
And I'm Mychall.
Hey, Mychall, how you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing okay. You seem... What's going on? You seem a bit befuddled. I'm not quite sure how to picture this reaction here.
It's just always funny going from the preview to the live. It's just an interesting contrast.
We got to give the people a show, okay? We got to razzle and dazzle them.
They're not. We are not the people for that. I will tell you now.
Well, we got to give them something, so it's all right. Well, good to hear you're doing all right. Again, we keep appearances, and as if people think we're doing this on a timely schedule or whatever. But honestly, we've only just seen each other recently, and we have to record this now because we've got scheduling conflicts. So we are very busy people. We
do this regularly, once a week.
That's right.
Every week.
That's right. On the dot. But anyway, I mean, with that said. What's been going on with you? Have you, is there anything been going on or anything you're looking forward to?
Possibly. I'm going to Haidilao on over the weekend, so I'm excited for that. I haven't been since that one time we've been, and I'm not usually a fan of hot pot, but Haidilao is always good.
Haidilao is a solid spot. Yeah, we did go. I remember. All the way there in La Puente. I don't know if that's the same one you're going to. I don't remember.
No. Okay. There's one in Culver. The Culver right. Century City Mall. Sorry, Century City. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, hot pot. I mean, I don't know what's the go-to there. I mean, we have to get Chris on to give us his expert opinion what to get, because you got to get the different broths. One that's spicy, one that's sweet, and then you have to go to the sauce bar. That's where all the magic happens, really. I mean, you get all the sauces there to. Pair with all your cooked meat and vegetables and everything like that. Yeah,
and that's an art form on its own.
I think so, and that's why Chris is our artist, expert resident artist in that. So, Chris, I'm inviting you to the pod, so please come on board.
Yeah, like he's listening.
Right, exactly. But all right, that sounds pretty good. Well, our friend. Maria's going to be coming over, visiting town, and hopefully we'll meet up with her and maybe eat a few things while we're at it.
A few.
So, right.
Your few are normal people's few.
That's right. I think, so we'll both have something to report back the next time around. Okay.
Nice.
So that's pretty good. We want to thank everyone again for, joining us as we talk about our food adventures, things we eat and local spots we hit up, things from pop-ups and this whole underground scene and everything in between. And, with coming across some good food and good people too. But, as we continue to talk, I feel like it's, just us talking. And, we do live stream these generally weekly, generally on Mondays as of now, but we'll have to, I feel like, I guess I should warm up to the idea that we should get people kind of involved in our conversation, get people talking and using things like the chat and, do some real-time follow-up, like call us out on our BS or something. I don't know.
There's not enough time in the world.
Where do we begin? It's like, yeah. Well, I mean, in time, again, we're live streaming here on YouTube, and whenever you catch us, you can join us on the chat and give us your thoughts on things we're talking about, and if we don't catch it right away, we'll follow it up in the next time around. So I don't know. We'll figure out how to get that going, but again, thanks again for listening and just joining us on this. I don't know what this is. This journey of just verbose prose there. I don't know. So, but as we move along, we're still talking about food, and again, our favorite food groups. We talked about barbecue previously with Moose Craft Barbecue, a stellar example of what smoked meats are here in LA. And we're going to just continue that theme and just continue writing that out because that has really got me going. And so we're going to continue talking about barbecue and more Texas style barbecue. Again, we talked about the meat and the fire and just marrying those two together, bringing something really special. No matter what region or style, you put those two things and you've got really something good going on. But again, we're talking about Texas style barbecue. Even within Texas, you've got different regions and styles from east to west and everything in between. There's really fascinating history that can't really expertly get into, but I am interested to continue learning about. But the style of barbecue we're kind of looking at, I think focuses really more in the central region of Texas, where we see, brisket and the use of what they call a dry rub, which is mainly salt and pepper, on the meat, and something that's cooked low and slow, and the meat really speaks for itself, after that, whether it's the brisket or ribs or what have you. Salt and pepper is really the way to go. But we'll see here with the spot we're going to be talking about today, which is Heritage Craft Barbecue. And we'll see here that beyond the salt and pepper, we see a lot more, elevated and just enhanced kinds of takes on a culinary adventure of barbecue, So Heritage Craft Barbecue, this is just kind of taken from their Instagram, and just an example really of an incredible spread that you can get. Mychall, of course, we've been to other barbecue spots and we love every single one of them that we've had for their own reasons. I would say namely because of the meat. The meat is is very delicious. It's so good. It's so tender, so moist, and just something when you cook it low and slow. But when you take something like that and then you add an extra level of preparation, of presentation, it really makes a big difference, I think, in the experience, in enjoying something like this.
Yeah,
so
that's a hell of a spread.
It really is. And this picture, among many others on their Instagram, is taken by this fellow John Troxel. We'll have a lot of these links and stuff as we go along in our show notes and descriptions and stuff when we share this. But this is just an example, and we'll definitely see more as we kind of go along here. We also just wanted to see, again, we are talking about this Texas style barbecue: brisket, ribs, sausage, beef ribs. The guys behind this couple here, Danny and Brenda Castillo, and this interview from Kevin's Barbecue Joints, they're just this kind of interview talking about, at this time, actually, their plans to open a brick and mortar, which we'll see later, which is open now. But at that time, they're looking for spreading the word and just trying to share what their plans are. It was a very big undertaking, certainly. I think in any dealing to open a restaurant, but also a Texas style restaurant that used full sized offset smokers, which are these huge metal barrels, basically. Those kinds of smokers are made from old propane tanks, and then you have these guys that are experts in welding that basically repurpose them. They add a smoke box, they have these smokestacks. It's and then they make them into the smoker that you can see today. It's crazy, with that kind of thing. But that's them, Danny and Brenda, and Danny is the pit master, the guy that has all the creative ideas and the dishes and things in his head to put out there. And Brenda, of course, just provides all the incredible support and a lot of the business side and things like that. and just helping, Danny wherever she can with that. And they're just a really nice, pair of people. And they're really great to talk to. And Danny's really, great to, share ideas and what his kind of creative process is and in how he does this. And he has a really big crew now. I mean, it was just, the two of them, maybe a handful of people. They even had their daughter, Karina, like kind of taking the orders and, things like that, and just still kind of doing a lot of that. But you have like a large crew now, a lot of people even like keeping it in the family, friends and things like that. Just making it kind of a tight knit group, and we will discuss as we go along just how great this spot really is. So let's as we continue along, we kind of see where they are. They have always kind of been in the OC, kind of base there. That's their kind of their area there, and they're kind of pretty deep in the OC these days. They're in San Juan Capistrano, so maybe about an hour, south of LA, and they managed to find a great spot over there. Even though San Juan Capistrano can be seen as kind of a sleepy kind of town, but there's a lot of history, a lot of people that come through, and it makes for it. I don't know. It just made for a great spot for something like this. A pretty relaxed, eatery with high execution, but in this kind of relaxed area. But I think the area really needed it. Something special, something like barbecue, and something like heritage, particularly. So I'd have. I don't know about you, but I would go down there with my parents as a kid because they would visit the mission down there. Yeah.
Oh, really?
And now, and of course, like when you're a kid, it's like you don't really want to go down there or whatever. You don't really, care too much. But now I'm motivated. Now I say, hey, we want to go down there? Let's go down there and visit.
You have your own mission to get to.
I'm on my own mission. Yeah, that's right. So, but Orange County and all that, and we will also see soon. Excitingly, they will be actually adding another location, much farther south in Oceanside, so in the San Diego County area. So that's very exciting too, and that's going to be, from what I understand, a pretty different undertaking as far as the approach and what they're serving over there. And again, we'll share what we know through in the links and stuff later on. So it's pretty exciting. Just starting to talk about this. It's just a lot to just kind of say already. But yeah, I mean, we probably heard about them, back around 2019. I think they definitely started before that. And then their brick and mortar where they are now was in 2020, and that was like during the pandemic. And so again, there were like a lot of challenges with that, but I think around that time we started to kind of see, kind of some things start to open again. Certainly in the kind of OC area, things were more relaxed, and you can get more inner people to go out and things like that. But that was still a challenging time, for businesses and everything alike. But they're still here a couple of years down the line, and that's good to hear. But yeah, let's let me just kind of step back a little bit as far as I don't. This is again one of those places where I'm not exactly sure how I heard about them, like the one singular thing. At this point, I had already met the likes of Abe Delgado from the Irish Barbecue Show, just a really good guy, and we'll bring him up again because we actually go on a lot of good adventures together. Could have been, again, like a food article. I'm not sure. But one thing I did want to share here was this it's not really an article. It's more like it's a blog, really. From this page here. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it properly. It's, I guess LATX BBQ. Like I don't know, but I've never met this guy. But I think I must have seen him in like a story, like someone's story or like a post or something, and then I just kind of found his account or something on Instagram, and then he has this site here. And this area here on the right, like pretty much all the places he's been to. So he's kind of like, he reminds me of Abe in that he's like an expat and he's from Texas and lives here in LA. And, similarly, like he misses, you miss the food back home. And so you try to find what you can here. And so this was one of the places I do remember, reading about and kind of getting interested in, thanks to this guy here. And it's very honest. It's very just kind of very straight to the point and interesting perspective from someone from Texas who who knows what that barbecue scene should look like. So to have that brought over here and talked about, in this case in a very positive way, is very encouraging. And so that definitely got me interested, among probably the other ways I've heard about them. But that was interesting. This article here also is from the OC Weekly, one of the earlier write-ups about them, and gives a little, again, history on why he started, and just having that drive to do something more. What's really cool, I think, about someone like Danny is that he's got this culinary background, this kind of training, that has given him this, way to present and create the dishes that we know from heritage today. Something that is relatively as basic as barbecue, something that's simple, I guess. Again, in this case, salt, pepper, and fire. But again, when you have this kind of creative aspect to it, this take, you have creative takes on the meat, on your sides, on your desserts, things like that. Just a different eye, I think. And so this those kinds of things, I think, that put them over the top, and again make something pretty special in that case. So so I remember the first time I shortly after, let me see, this was after I kind of came across these articles, I was like, I definitely need to go. And so you follow them on Instagram, you keep in touch with how they're doing it, through their stories and their posts, where th're going to be. That's really the way you get through a lot of these pop-ups and the underground scene, if you will. So they were at a brewery in the OC, and that's a lot of where they had their start, the circuit of breweries. But again, pretty much in the OC. So this was like one of the first, visits I had. And again, that was like all mine. Like I had no one to join me for this. And again, it's like with something like Texas barbecue, it's like you usually order things like a la carte. There's like no pre-made platter or whatever. It's like you just order by the pound or whatever. And so I'm like, I'll just get all of these. So you have your typical array. You have the brisket, the ribs, sausage. There's pulled pork there. I think there's a beef rib in there. And I do have the menu here, and this fell on like the St. Patrick's Day weekend or something. I don't know if it was actually St. Patrick's Day, but at least that weekend. And so this is what they were selling. And you have the typical fare: brisket, ribs, pulled pork, sausage. But then you have like these sides. And again, this is where you kind of start to see like, oh, they've got this interesting take on certain things, like this Dubliner mac and cheese, Irish baked beans, and it's you see like, it's obviously very good, and but it's just like just a slightly different take. And for what it's worth, I just also wanted to share, like, this is how you ordered.
The way to order.
You got like this. You just got this form. You know, like how you order dim sum, right? You get like that form, and then you just like tick out all the boxes and the quantities that you want. Or like, what is that? Ace. You do Ace Sushi this way too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, how many? Like, yes, and so I guess this is pretty much my my order. But look I just want to read a little bit on the side. You have this Cole Cannon, which was an Irish pan roasted potato with Brussels sprouts and carrots with bacon. You got the Dubliner mac and cheese, which is Irish cheddar with braised onions and bacon, and and the baked beans, which was cooked with an Irish stout and with smoked bacon. I guess everything made it better because there was bacon in there. I mean, no arguments there, right? But yeah, that was the I guess my first meal with them, and that was really good, and I definitely remember that, and so I had to make it a point to go out there again and make sure that we tried it again. So I think the next time I don't remember if it was the next time, but I know a following time I had asked you to come along, Mychall, and we were out there in Chapman Brewery again in the OC. I will tell you that as I'm looking here, this was actually probably literally a week after I had just come off my first Texas trip. Again, I was like getting all inspired or something. Like I think
that was your
early
first trip.
Yeah, early
out of 3 that year.
I think so. Yeah. So
Jesus.
So after that trip, I was like, yeah, this is the way to go, man. This is it. So, yeah. So I asked you to come along for this one, and so this was what we had here, if you recall. There's and we'll get into this here a little bit. Yeah, this was between two people, two very hungry people, right?
There are limits. Even we have limits.
Well, let's give a little more context to this. We during that time we ran into these people here. We have on the far right we have Abe. That's Abe Delgado right there, and then in the middle we have Russ from Smokey Jones. And I think that was just by chance. We just happened to run into them.
Yeah.
And and so we had ordered, with the intent. Yes.
We already set our order. You and we talked it over. We set our order. Mm-hmm. And then I saved us a table. You were there. Mm-hmm. You were in line. You were going to give the ticket to complete the order. But then you met Abe in line. And I don't know what happened. And y'all talked, and you somehow doubled the original order we had. And
let's go back. This is you're saying this is double then, of the amount that we would have ordered for ourselves.
Yes.
Amazing. Incredible.
I don't know what he said to you, but you're like, all right, I need more.
Well, I mean, I thought we were gonna throw down and just share food together, which I think we did. We did.
We
did share.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, Abe wasn't there as long, I remember his family was there. They had something to do. I
see. So they didn't get to hang out as much, or maybe again they had other plans lined up. So okay, well, more for us, right?
It's too much, sir.
Was it? I mean, I feel that's surprising coming from either of us, really.
Oh, I remember I was dying.
Yeah, but did you die, as they say?
Probably on the inside, yes.
There is still some plaque lined up there that you can
from that specific
from
trip,
that very day. But this is
we were with Smokey Jones for he was staying for a bit. We talked to him quite a bit during that day.
Yeah. I mean, but again, we also kind of just ran into him, right?
Yeah, it was all random. Like he
Oh,
had his
okay.
own table even, like, and
Got
he
it.
no
Got it.
recognized you, and then that's how you guys started talking.
Nice. Okay. All right. Um, well, okay. Well, that order there, yeah, that's good for. You say that's good for how many people?
Well, there was four of us: you, me, Russ, Abe, and then his
Uh-huh.
wife and daughter. I think.
Okay. Okay.
So that was meant for six.
Uh-huh. But clearly, it- I mean, it was just left to us really to finish most
Yeah,
of this.
basically.
But we did,
Did
I
we?
think.
I don't know,
Well,
because we know
the
we never take food home. We usually
the
finish
point,
it, but
yes, the point is that it was yet another delicious tray of barbecue.
oh
You
hell
ever
yeah,
sausage, brisket, pork rib. We even have this big old
beef
beef
rib.
rib right
Yeah.
here. And then again, you see these you don't see it as well here, but you see the sides kind of lined up there, some mashed potato, beans. You even see this like bolillo here, something
Oh,
again, I
that's
think that's
right.
just starting that you're seeing the introduction of like certain elements that are not typical for maybe, a Texas style tray, but again, you're seeing these elements kind of from Danny and these decisions being put on here that really kind of add something different, but a unique take to what we would continue to see down the road. Um, well, again, you're alive. We're alive, so I think that it wasn't too bad, right? I think that's okay.
Tell that to my mini heart attacks.
All right, no problem. One other tray I wanted to share here was this one here. Now this one we had kind of made reference from the previous episode. So this is at Gamecraft Brewery, deep in the I think it was deep in the OC.
Yeah,
And Mychall, again, we were there. We had just come off another
Literally.
Texas trip.
Straight off the plane, out of the airport, directly to this barbecue spot.
Well, I mean, we had to stop by home to pick up our cars, right? And then we booked it over.
I thought I don't even remember. We might have stopped by real quick because like it was inside. I don't remember anything in between the plane and this place, honestly.
I see it. All the cholesterol is all blur now.
Well, if you include the trip we took, yeah.
Yeah, we should talk about that more later. I mean, that was a fun trip.
That gets its own story for sure.
That was for John's bachelor party, which really was
yours.
Just a glorified Texas barbecue crawl.
Yeah.
And we were definitely crawling after that. So yeah. So we spent like it was a solid day out there, and then we came back the following kind of morning, and then yeah. So we went down there to Gamecraft because I was interested in this menu that he had. It was like a Cinco de Mayo thing. So I think there's like Tex-Mex kind of inspired menus here. So you see the use of like the tortillas, the avocado. I think it's like a green chili pulled pork kind of thing there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The rice, I don't quite recall exactly what was going on, what it was. But it was again like kind of again part of that menu. You see the bolillo, you see the cornbread, and the desserts there early on they were getting from this spot, Sweet Eliza's. We'll see later that they again start making their own desserts, but early on these were what you had to pair with the barbecue. But again, we made a point to kind of get a little bit of everything, and we had a good crew that day. We had a pretty big group in addition to the people from the bachelor party. We had others join us as well.
Yeah, their SOs also joined.
Yeah,
a few.
But, yeah, and again, ran into Abe there too. And
did you?
Yeah.
Did you double this order?
I don't quite remember that, but I think we had enough to go around this time.
I'm sure.
So, it was a big space. I remember at Gamecraft Brewery, it was a big space. And, I definitely remember like, this is definitely, have definitely been hearing about them. People have started to show up and the lines were certainly growing, and uh, people were waiting for their barbecue, and people were even like, taking pictures. I think I remember there was like a group of people, from some news publication or food thing, and they were outside. They were taking beautiful
Oh,
pictures
that's
of like
right.
this
Yeah.
tray or
The
whatever.
smoke. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really something. But yeah, we had a good meal that day, and so I enjoyed that a lot. But yeah, I mean, after going to Texas for, I don't know, for where it all came from, I guess, and then we came back here. I don't know. That's You can thank me, I guess, for all for all of
For all my cholesterol, my high blood
Yeah,
pressure.
exactly.
But
Um,
lots of good food.
oh boy. But I wanted to make a brief reference here. We talked previously also about the LA Times All Star Barbecue thing. A lot of the greats from Texas, California, and throughout coming to LA for one day lineup of just small bites and the best of the best. So um, uh, Danny was there, and from Heritage, but he wasn't there like participating as one of the vendors or whatever. He was just there to kind of go around and just as a patron or something. So I mean, he got to hang out with everyone and talk with everyone. But I just found it interesting that at that point that they had not. I'm not sure at that point actually. I don't know myself like if they had not reached out to them or maybe just something didn't work out. I'm not sure, but it was a little surprising that we didn't see them there, like participating, as a vendor. Because Moose was there, Slab was there, even Horn Barbecue from NorCal was there. So I don't know. It's obviously that's in the past and it's fine, but we still had a good time, and Abe was there too. So he was doing his podcast, and he was interviewing everyone, and yeah, again, it was a great time. So they continue. So it's not really that long ahead. I mean, this is like halfway into like 2019 or something, and so we are just kind of moving right along, and they are just moving around different parts of different breweries. There was one visit I remember that was actually a little closer to home, which was at a brewery at Ambitious Ales, which is in Long Beach, which is actually not too far from me now. So a lot of good spots actually take place over there, pop-ups and things like that. And but a while back, Heritage made their appearance at that brewery, and they had a great spread that day. And this was another visit I actually had with Tomo and Kanar. I don't know what it is like. They somehow agreed to just like join me in these like food things,
They're always
probably
down for barbecue.
without recognizing what I'm gonna put them through. They probably didn't agree to everything I was ordering here, but this is definitely quite a spread. You have your brisket, your
Yeah, how much brisket is that?
there was a lot. How much was that? At least
At least
a pound and
maybe
a half
pound
or
and a half.
something.
Yeah,
And then the beef rib.
you always got to get a beef rib though.
Yeah, exactly. But again, you see these elements of presentation, the use of like the microgreens, the top, the garnishing, I guess, and how it's topped off. Like the mac and cheese has got like the bacon crumble on there, and there's actually I think these are esquitas, like the Mexican corn on there. Yeah, it's really something else. So, and the brisket, every these times I've been being exposed to brisket, and it just kind of gets better every time I try it, and this is like no exception. It just really, it's super tender, super soft. I don't know. And then I would always, especially in the beginning, I would always order fatty cuts because fatty, more fat, more, it's I've come to appreciate, lean cuts more these days, especially, with quantity and whatever. But, uh, you know, fatty cuts were the way to go for me. But then even the beef rib as well. The sausage, I think that's kind of what stood out that day. This was a Frito pie sausage, and Frito pie is a kind of a ace. It is a kind of iconic kind of menu item for in the Texas scene, and we'll kind of see a little bit of that as we go along. But that to kind of make that into a sausage is was something pretty good too. So so that was at Ambitious Ales. I don't have something here, but I also remember that there was the 4th of July, and I remember, I don't remember if you were with us. We had met up. We had like dim sum that morning, and so we had our meal in the morning. And then I asked John, "Hey, do you want to go down to get some barbecue?" And surprisingly, he was down for it. So at that day, Heritage was doing a collab with this other barbecue, guy named Tyler. Is it Tyler Harp from? Man, I know I looked this up earlier, but I'm pretty sure it's like Harp Barbecue. Okay, Harp. Okay, I'm getting confused now. Okay, someone needs to fact check me here in real time.
Barbecue.
Harp Barbecue. And I have to make the distinction because there's Harp Barbecue, which is, I believe, what this is. And then there's also Harper Barbecue, which is a local guy here that does a lot of the pit work for the smokers and stuff, like what Heritage uses and many others. And they're also opening their own spot in the OC, hopefully very soon, if not already. But so the one I'm talking about on this day was Harp Barbecue.
From Missouri?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we go down there, and this was already like late in the afternoon. So admittedly, we were taking a chance on this, and predictably, a lot of stuff was already gone, particularly like whatever Harp Barbecue was serving that day. But they were still very nice, and they kind of made us a nice small kind of dish to share. Had like some beef rib, sausage, pulled pork in there. So still got to enjoy. But again, after a full meal of dim sum, just taking John down there. Well, again, his toe hadn't exploded at that time. So I think he's, I think he was down. But I think we kind of set the course for that. Yeah. So he probably
fails.
Yes, among many others. So, yeah. So we obviously, it being in, the restaurant scene, hospitality, things like that, you obviously like know other people, in that as well. You meet people in the same vein, and you build these relationships. I mentioned that because, Mychall, I remember we had gone to Vegas. We made a trip out there. Just our own trip, just to kind of have fun and relax and whatever. Yeah. We were with the group and whatever. But on our way there, I was doing my stories and posting stuff, and Danny, kind of replied to one of them. It was like, "Hey, my buddy, kind of works out at one of the serves a barbecue out there, and so it's this spot called Mabel's, and it's a barbecue, restaurant that's based out of the Palms Hotel, kind of a little off the strip. But his friend, his name is Christian, Chef Christian. He he's working there, and said, if you let us know ahead of time, we can kind of meet him and whatever. So I ended up going on my own, I guess. I kind of broke away
Yeah,
from the group.
solo.
I chose food over friends, so
That's per usual.
yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I went out there, and I got to meet Christian, and he was a really just good guy, just very welcoming, and he showed me around. He gave me a little tour of the kitchen, and the smokers that they use, these huge box smokers, and how they cook their meats and stuff. And then got to order a little bit of everything, including the the
One of
brisket
each?
and ribs. Yeah, and one of each.
As it should be.
And was really good. I mean, out of a hotel in Vegas, I mean, they served out really good barbecue. So I was very lucky to to try that. So I thank Danny to putting me onto that. And yeah, so again, you'll thankfully you'll find stuff like that in places you may not expect. So
Yeah. I mean, you probably made the right call. That day I walked into a wall and broke my glasses.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I remember that day.
Ooh.
Terrible.
How did you survive?
Had to tape. Yeah, I'm blind, so I needed to tape my glasses together.
Yes. Oh man, yeah. I'm sorry.
I was that nerd.
Again, did you die? So
I don't know. My face hurt.
I think you live to tell the story and live another day. So it's okay.
Next time I know, forget the friends. Just go to food.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Thank you. Oh man. So late 2019, we come across this announcement that Heritage is opening up a new space, a brick and mortar that they're working on, and this is obviously very exciting. At this point, really the only brick and mortars we have is at this
Moose
point
wasn't around yet. No,
they weren't. We have Slab.
Yeah.
Slab was around. I mean, yeah, Slab was already around.
Yeah.
There's also this spot. I don't remember if I know we had been. It was Pearls in downtown.
But were they closed at this time? Because I remember
I don't remember if they were closed at that time, but we had gone before. I mean, the fact that there was something already in place. And we'll talk about the spiritual successor of that in a later time. But I think the point is there just weren't. I mean, of this kind, I guess this kind of offering here. Obviously, you have a handful of great barbecue places in LA of different kinds and styles, but I think of this quality and this again of this style, it was just very exciting to hear that once again a kind of this pop up underground scene kind of place, getting the word of mouth and getting the popularity and recognition. Now they have the support. And the motivation to open a brick and mortar. Of course, it's still going to be in the OC. It's going to be based out there. A little unfortunate for us, but
yeah,
not for the rest of OC. But it was just interesting. I mean, the link here and some of the interviews that we can share as well. Just talk that you just kind of read and hear about what they had to do, what it took for them to really get this thing up and going, what they had to kind of sacrifice and give to really get this start. But with Danny, I guess you got something in mind, and he's got this goal. Kind of, he's kind of really driven to really get there. And of course, with the support, of Brenda and and the family. I mean, that's just what really lends to making it, to really going for it. So it was. I don't remember what the original intended opening was, but they ended up opening in August 2020. Which was the the pandemic. So we again opening up in the middle of pandemic. Was definitely a chance in itself, but. Again, there was that announcement, and it got everyone excited. So, myself included. So, I know I'd be making some trips out there. because you have a reliable spot that you can visit for great barbecue. So, but before that, in between that time, I wanted to also kind of make this. I'm reminded of this yet another Texas trip. I mean, that was 2019 was a pretty great year for Texas barbecue
For you,
and
yes.
Texas trips because, yeah, I'm.
This was the third, yeah.
This was in that year, in that same
Yeah.
year. So, there was a festival hosted by Texas Monthly, which is a popular publication there in Texas, and more notably, they're known for what they call the top 50 list for barbecue, and which literally lists and ranks what is quite literally the best barbecue in Texas, and basically means the world as well. Yeah, I guess you can judge for yourself, but the top 50. So they host this barbecue festival, annually, and so I'd been motivated enough at that point to just try it out and visit, and so I made my plans, bought my ticket, got my for the event and everything, and it was a great trip because I was very lucky to hang out with Danny, with Abe, and even others like Bart's and a lot of other people there too, which again hopefully we'll talk about subsequently. But and I think this trip alone I could talk about, which maybe I will in its own, because I think I'd add a whole lot more time to this. But a couple of the notable places, we made a day trip. Abe invited me to join him with Danny to hit up a bunch of places in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, because there are a lot of places that were already like up and coming or like really established that were really good to check out. Because we know there are a lot of places in Austin, even in Houston, that are very notable. Austin, you have like Franklin's Barbecue and many other, and Snow's Barbecue, many other places. But Dallas-Fort Worth is its own region and own city, so there's a lot of good places there too. And easily in that day we hit up like half a dozen spots, if not more. But the ones that I wanted to bring up, particularly that pertain, I think, because Danny wanted kind of turn me on to these. One place on our way back was this place called Hellberg Barbecue, and Hellberg, they I think Danny just really appreciated the type of menu, the quality, and what they were serving up over there. Let me see if I can find something there. So I think one thing in particular, I think we had eaten a lot that day already, so we didn't really get like a big tray. But one thing we did get was this turkey, this stuffed. Oh. I think it's a stuffed pesto turkey. So you can just kind of see the pesto kind of running through, and this really soft turkey breast. And this was our tray that we got. Again, turkey, brisket. These were beef cheeks. Oof. Yeah, it was a simple tray, but it was a really good bite on the way back. It was just really nice to kind of have. So that was Hellberg Barbecue. So I would love to go back, hopefully sometime soon. But that was great too. And then this picture is a picture of a pork chop. So it's just a great pork chop, but it comes from a spot called Brett's Backyard Barbecue. And Brett's, I wanted to bring this up too because I understand that Danny got a lot of help from this guy Brett Boren from when he was kind of starting out, in kind of learning the craft barbecue. And he and Danny kind of what's the word? The word stage. It's like that's where you like kind of spend time, kind of like shadowing and like doing stuff with with these people in the restaurant setting or whatever.
Stagiaire.
Well, the word I hear is stage, so it's I hear is a verb,
probably shortened. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, hey, I'm going to stage here. Like, can we stage, for a week or something like that, So you're just basically doing a lot of the work at the restaurant, usually for free. But it's for your own, growth and development. So, but Brett helped them out a lot with that. And there was a tray here. Shoot, where is it? I probably lost it already. But we had a whole spread of things, and that was incredible there. But again, I was lucky to spend the day, with these guys and having some great barbecue. So again, I perhaps I'll think about putting something together about that trip too, because there's still a lot of notable events, notable places that since that trip have really exploded and are really excellent. And then yeah, so that was like early November or something like that. So that was good. And then I think like the week after, if I remember correctly, or a couple weeks, not too long, I went back to Heritage.
How
had
are
like
you
a
alive?
small like Thanksgiving dinner. They prepared me some meatloaf, turkey, some so this
Is that stuffing?
this kind of corn stuffing, this cornbread kind of thing. I don't know if I can find it from the let me see. One moment. There was a spot that we visited in that food crawl, Dallas Fort Worth. Well, actually that was more outside of Austin at this point. There's this spot called 1775 Barbecue. And one of the standout things I think we had from there was this kind of cheesy like cornbread dish here. Ooh, wow, you can really zoom in there. Let's do that again. There it is. But this was a very interesting bite. It was like it wasn't like bready, like a cornbread. It had more of a I don't know. Almost like a in between like a cornbread and like a mac and cheese kind of deal.
Oh.
Kind of. I mean, I'm probably not explaining this right, but just try to imagine that, okay? But you got the sweetness of the corn, the savoriness of like kind of the cheesiness in there. So that was that was a standout, dish from this visit. And so I think Danny wanted to, if I remember, he wanted to kind of get a little inspiration from that to do that. So I might be wrong. Again, I am dumb and hungry. So, but that's kind of what I remember from that. The small meal in this case, but it's quite good, So, if I remember again a little bit more about that dish, I'll let you know. But I don't know. Anyway, we keep moving along here, and this next kind of these pictures here kind of showcase they had presented this time when they were showcasing smoked chicken, and they still do. They have these in Texas, they are, in addition to the typical the Texas Trinity, you also have these other items that are notable, including the smoked half chickens. So Heritage has their own. These are, I guess, these like Jidori type chickens, which are like a very high quality meat, and so they were using those to make these this day, and that was so that was that visit. Man, where was that? I have it listed here, but I don't quite remember if that was the spot right there. But just as a few kind of snapshots here from that visit, this guy here actually, his name is Nick. He is known as like the executive chef for Heritage Barbecue, so he has like a lot of the creative, control and direction of like where dishes go and how they're served and everything. But he's been a big help, in kind of bringing Heritage to where they are today. But yeah, this was again, I think it was just me that day. So that was I had a lot
That's
that
all
day.
you, huh?
Yeah, no, that was all me.
Oof.
But this was my plate, my tray that day. That half chicken, the beef rib, ribs, brisket, sausage, a little tortilla in there. Yeah, that was a good spread. So, man, I don't. Yeah, I really can't. I couldn't be happier with that day. So, but that was a good visit. And we would see again just more of this kind of higher executed, take on dishes and things like that. Oh, later on, they that same day they also this picture here is basically smoked bacon. Yeah, so they
Ooh.
have the griddle, the flat top here, and they finish off the smoked bacon here on the to make it crispy and stuff. Yeah, that was good. Actually, I think from this album, let's see if I can pull it up. They prepared a kind of a special little treat, I think. Oh, yes. Where are you? I missed it. Sorry. Here we go. This treat here, yeah, basically on these tortillas, you got the smoked bacon, the brisket, Oh man, that was on top of what I had already eaten. Oh man, I couldn't resist. That was so good.
Yeah, it looks it.
Yeah. So, again, it's these kind of interesting takes on these dishes that we get to see from Heritage and, kind of look forward to. So, it just kind of makes me kind of glad to kind of see more of that. So, the next, kind of the next visit I would have would be a visit like just before the pandemic. And so I don't remember if there was a particular occasion here or anything, but again, it was just another visit. And here's Danny is like throwing, the wood into the firebox on their smoker. But this one, is notable, I guess, because in addition to seeing Danny, you also get to see Brenda, his wife there, kind of help serve up the orders and things like that, and Nick is there too, slicing up and serving the brisket. These pictures are loading a little too slowly for my taste, but that's so I gotta wait a little bit. But so there's Nick right there, and then there's also another fellow worth mentioning. I wanted to mention his name is Chris, and he actually has his own. He has run his own barbecue shop called Khalifa's Barbecue, and I believe from what I hear, if I remember, like he's helping Danny out. Whether at the current San Juan location or more so at the upcoming Oceanside spot. But I'm trying to bring up a pic with him, but I have so many pictures, it's like too much. But here is picture Chris helping him out that day, Khalifa's Barbecue. So yeah, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, so and then pandemic. So so then you got the pandemic, and again, like everyone's scrambling, figuring out what to do, and then I think, one thing we don't really mention as much, or we haven't really mentioned much here, one of the consequences certainly is that people are out of jobs. People that work in the restaurant industry, they're being laid off. They don't got work. I think there was some aid, like through unemployment, and unemployment was more, in the beginning, and for some it was helping, arguably even paying more than what they made previously. But for the most part, people were still struggling, being hit hard by the consequences of the shutdown and things like that. And so I think one of the kind of notable things I think during this time is that Danny and Heritage would participate and help organize this these events called, I think they called it the OC Smoked Kitchen. It's not listed in this particular article, but I think in other posts and stuff they kind of make reference to that. And so what that is basically is that they're preparing like these meals for like the restaurant workers. People can drive through, they can pick up food, and they can yeah, they just have like, a meal for another day. So there were like donations from, people who donated the meat and the bread and, other ingredients and stuff. And then Danny would, put in time to smoke them. And again, mind you, this is still during the time when they're still planning to open the brick and mortar, so they got a lot going on, and a lot to kind of juggle and, think about. From what I kind of recall, and, opening that restaurant, definitely had its challenges, as far as like, getting everything approved and, the spacing and how everything was being laid out. And, there's a lot of back and forth, because this was kind of a unique, setup to have like, the smokers out there and, being able to smoke, barbecue. And, you just don't see that obviously like too much in, in that area. So, they had to deal with that, but then they're still, exercising, generosity and, by giving back and, doing cool stuff like this. So, that's something I'll kind of remember them, doing. But, so we go through a lot of that, and then thankfully, we flash forward to, August, where they finally do open their brick and mortar. They announce, the grand opening, and it's, it's a great, affair and everything, and a lot of good turnout and all that. It took a while for me to kind of get out there for the first visit, but thankfully I was able to, and I got to spend a good morning with them and kind of see how they were doing things. So what we see here is kind of the outside area. Outside of the restaurant, you have this space where they have the smokers. These are the 2,000 gallons side by side here, and there's Danny, and he has this other pitmaster. I think his name is Chris. This is another Chris. And it's kind of interesting, seeing people like Nick and, Chris and all the other people, Danny kind of, transferring this knowledge and like training people and, teaching people and how he wants, his food to be done. Because obviously, I mean, you can execute the food yourself and, do obviously the way that you want it in an excellent way. But there is something special too about being able to teach others and have them execute it just as well. And then you have more hands that can, kind of help you, and you just have a greater capacity to serve more people or serve people in a different way. And so I think that's what we're seeing here, so I think that's a really, really good thing to see. But what they're seeing here is the pork belly burnt ends. And I know, you have your share. You've had your share of that, Mychall. I know you like your share of that too. So, right next to, like, in the same space, like, so this is kind of the building. I mean, I don't have the full thing, but like, this is the building where they serve out of. And next, like, kind of next to it, attached to it, is like a small kind of a tap bar or something. They serve beers and other drinks out there, so you can have your barbecue and your beer. So it's a pretty good deal. So here's just more of the, the smokers, it's like, these, you see these shed things covering them. That was like part of all the, the regulated, what had to be added. And, I don't know, it's a whole very involved, process. Very interesting. What do I see here? This was like, brisket, like stewed chili, I believe. But it was nice to kind of go in and see the crew inside and see them do their thing, preparing for service. Yeah, I think I had arrived before service because it was easily you could know that people were going to line up well before opening. So that was pretty good. So there is Danny making cooking more of that. But yeah, people are kind of lined up there, and so it was a whole day. This was thank you, whole spread. That was crazy. This was a Frito. This is a Frito pie. So you got the bag of Fritos, and then it's topped with like loaded with like things like chili and cheese and sour cream and all the fixings on there. But yeah, they were very they kind of went all out that day, and they were very kind to prepare a really full tray of really good eats there. Yeah, it was very it was a good day. So I had a great time, I'd say.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think so. But in addition to all the smoked meats, the incredible sides, at that point, I think they had already they also started making their own desserts. So I think there's a picture here of like their banana pudding. So that was like something that they would like try to rotate and change out flavor wise, but they would make like this banana pudding as well. So yeah, I mean, in addition to kind of all of that, that was a good, very full day, if you will, full day of a visit to Heritage Barbecue. So, but it was really great to see. Also, although I don't have much to show like here, but I think from what I could see, like from that previous picture or whatever, we could see, the capacity to be able to like be more creative, share more types of dishes. When you look through their Instagram, some of the things that you'll see them kind of sharing, what they offer, like, for example, they make like a pastrami torta or even like a brisket banh mi, things like that. There's actually one post here. I guess I wanted to show here. The guy who's known for like making the or like putting together like the original ramen burger. I don't know if you're like familiar with that or whatever, but they did a little like kind of collaboration. Heritage smoked the burgers, and then the chef Keizo, he he had the ramen buns on there, and then they made these ramen burgers, and that was I mean, that's just one example of like collaboration, and then also just the creativity that you can lend to a great kind of fun dish. So you see a lot of those, and you see that, yeah, I mean, so it's not just Danny, it's the whole crew, including like Nick and everyone that's kind of there, that you see just more of these kinds of dishes, and again, that more elevated and higher executed kind of a thing. Of course, with the smoked meat being as great as it is already, I mean, staying at an incredible level, but then you add like these other elements, sourcing from local spots, and other vendors that, I don't know, it's really something kind of special, I'd say. Additionally, at the brick and mortar, you can also do curbside pickup, which is super convenient. So, which was probably driven by the pandemic, but I think obviously it's here to stay, and is obviously convenient in itself. Has its own benefit. I think there's a minimum you order, but then once you're there, you just wait a little bit. It's ready, and then you're on your way. So it's good when you got maybe got an event, party or something, and you wanna put something quick together. Like, that's it. You just order curbside, and then boom, you're done. You don't have to wait in that line. It's good. So, but so it's about 2 years, I think, already since they've opened. I don't know when we're gonna get you down there, Mychall, but since those 2 years, like, I think to celebrate their anniversaries, they've done these kind of invitational events. And with these types of events, it's not uncommon, like what you'd see maybe in like Texas. You would invite other barbecue, in this case, other barbecue folks to come out, and they all make kind of their own little dish, their own side, and then you invite the public to celebrate, all together. And so he had this, he has this whole, and I think you can thank Abe a lot for putting this kind of thing together. Like, he just calls out to all the different people in Texas and in California say, hey, we're inviting you to this big event, and this is how it's going to be. Want all these bites and things like that, serving these many people, and people come together. They make these killer like kind of bites that you may not even see on the regular menu or whatever, and it's just a whole day of just eating and celebrating barbecue. It sounds like a pretty good day. So, yeah, that was the Heritage Barbecue. I haven't been, unfortunately, to either of them, but having looked at them, they look pretty incredible. So, hopefully, if they continue doing it, they could maybe make our way down there for something like that. But again, a visit to Heritage Barbecue on its own is a treat in itself. So hopefully you'll find your way down there. But yeah, and hopefully for the future, we are looking forward to this Oceanside spot. I've only been relatively recently announced, but hopefully we'll look forward to it. I mean, it is obviously farther from where we are, but it's closer to, I think, where they live, which is great.
Good.
And they found this awesome space that is kind of really, it's going to be a very different concept from what I understand. Like it's not really it's not strictly like barbecue. This was, I think, this was a recent interview with Kevin's Barbecue Joints, and I think they did like a little tour. I think Danny got to give him a little tour of like the space that's over there. And so yeah, here it is. And so hopefully they're going to transform this space. They're going to make it like use it as a brewery. I think they're going to like make taps and stuff on their own and make different. They will still use their smoked meat, but they'll use it in different ways. Make things like sandwiches or, just other types of bites, that they might serve barbecue a la carte at some point or whatever. I don't know. But you can see here, like kind of the space that they're working with. It's something pretty cool that I think they'll get to work with. So from what I had heard, I think if they were ambitious enough and, if things worked out, they could open by the end of this year, which would be interesting, right? But I mean, that's to be seen, but that's something to look forward to, So, yeah, I mean, that's what we get to hear from Heritage Barbecue. So, I know it was a lot. I don't know if you had any any thoughts or anything about that. I know I've been lucky to have you come along and join for some of this stuff, but I don't know if you had anything really to kind of add to that.
Well, all I'm thinking right now is, so the plan when that Oceanside spot opens up is to stop by the San Juan Capistrano spot first and then go to the Oceanside right after, just for the comparison purposes, right?
Bang bang, right? Bang,
among
bang.
other things.
Yes. Excellent. Well, that's a plan. So we will keep our eyes out. Again, you got to keep your eyes out, on the stories and social media, on what these guys are up to. That's really how they kind of get the word out. But I think they really have a good, following and, whatever they got going on at, Capistrano. So hopefully, again, we can make our way there at least. And then we'll look forward to, Oceanside and what else they have beyond. So it's places like these again, and all the other places really we've talked about that kind of make me excited to, to hear about the successes, I think, of, of these folks that they start small. You start somewhere, you start small, but then you grow and then you get better. And then, enough people notice and then you continue to share something great with the community and then the people all around. So it's especially with someone like Danny, and his creative mind and wants his vision, I think, for what he wants to do. It still involves barbecue, but it still kind of goes a step beyond, which is really something great. So I'm very happy to, see that and hopefully continue to see too. So, But yeah, the barbecue game, Texas barbecue, certainly in LA is getting strong. It's pretty strong now, and there's a lot more, actually a few more spots, several spots that we can talk about, and we will talk about. And but we're just kind of going along right now, and just sharing some more good spots with you. So want to thank everyone for joining us again. As usual, we are excited to bring you more episodes, of places we've been to, the adventures we've had, and with the good food and good people. So again, you can find us streaming generally weekly, and when we can. We usually try to stay with a certain schedule. I mean, we would share this either from YouTube or from social media. You can find it at Dumb and Hungry. Hopefully, we're working it out. Okay, we're just trying to push the content out, trying to get that out, and but we'll get that shared with you. And hopefully, if you got anything to say, you could message me here at Dumb and Hungry, or hit us up here on the chat when we're live. But otherwise, you can also find the audio wherever fine podcasts are served, which is interesting because this is anything but fine. But hopefully, but we're glad to be part of it. Let's put it that way. But until next time, I'm Angelo.
I'm Mychall.
And on your next food adventure, remember to try one of each.